Hello, guys. Welcome to Ramta Solutions. Welcome to your grade 10 physical sciences skills for science. So, today we are looking at proportion. When we talk proportion, we are talking the relationship between two values. Okay, we are talking the relationship between two values. Now, what does this mean? Now, here, what we will be looking at basically is to say, how does a change of one of the values affect the change of the other value? Meaning, if you increase one value, does the other value remain the same? Does it increase or does it decrease? This is what we are referring to, or this is what we will be looking at when we look at proportion. Okay, so this you will see a lot with your experiments, the results that you are getting from your experiments. They will tell you whether the things that you comparing are directly proportional or indirectly proportional. Okay. And again, even the formulas that we are using, you can see from the formulas if one quantity is directly or indirectly proportional to the other. Okay. So there are two types of proportion that we look at. We have direct proportion and indirect proportion. Okay. So without any waste of time, let's get into it. So when we talk direct proportion, we are basically saying the change in one, okay, the change in one value leads to the same change in the other. Okay. Mm. Leads to the same change in the other value. Okay. Now, with indirect proportionality, what we are saying here, change in one value will lead to an opposite change in the other value. Okay. Change in one value leads to an opposite change to the other value. An opposite change to the other value. Okay. Okay. So here, let's say we're looking at values, say we're looking at values y and x. So with this one, we are saying, oh, y is directly proportional to x. I will write it in red. This means y is directly, that y is directly proportional to x. Y is directly proportional to x. Okay. Now here, what we are saying that y is indirectly proportional to x. In red, y is indirectly proportional to x. Y is indirectly proportional to x. Okay. So what we are saying here, we then say, okay, so this means y is equal to a constant times x. And here we are saying y is equal to a constant over x. Therefore, when you look at this further, we can say y over x is equal to a constant. And here we can say y times x is equal to a constant. Okay. So with direct proportionality, the ratio of the values give you a constant. With indirect proportionality, product of the values give you a constant. So here, ratio of the values gives a constant. Okay. a ratio of the values is a constant. Let's just say that. Ratio of the values is a constant. Okay, and here, product of the values is a constant. Product of the values is a constant. Okay, is a constant. Going to the next page. Okay, perfect. Going to the next page, we are here. Now let's see. We said changing one value leads to the changing the other value. Here, changing one value leads to the opposite changing the other value. And you're saying value ratio of the values is a constant. Here, product of the values is a constant. Right? Product of the values is a constant. Let me not squeeze it. Let me just write it here. Is a constant. All right? Is a constant. All right? So proceeding, we then say if we were to draw graphs for this, we will say this. This is what is happening. So let's say this is y. Let's say this is x. Right? So if this is 1, this point here, y value is 1, x value must be 1. If y value is 2, x value must also be 2. If it's 3, it must also be 3. You see this? This is direct proportionality. So with these, now this one we're looking at indirect proportionality, or y x will be something like this. Note here, y value does not touch the y-axis. The graph does not touch the y-axis. Let me put it like that. The graph does not touch the y-axis and the x-axis. Okay? Graph does not touch the y-axis and the x-axis. Okay? For this one here. So this one, as you can see, this graph is a straight line. Okay? This one is a straight line. This one here, we say it's a hyperbola. You're going to learn about this in your mathematics. Okay, you're going to learn about this in your mathematics. Okay, guys, you're going to learn about this in your mathematics. So remember, guys, if when you say, for example, with these ones, remember what we said. We said the ratio of 2 will always be, will give you a constant. If the constants are the same, then the relationship would be direct proportionality. So let's say we have the results here. Let's say we have the results. I'm gonna say we have y, we have x, and then we have y over x. Okay, let's say y over x, and let's say it gives y over x. So let's say here we have y1 x1. Obviously, this will be y1 over x1. It will become ky, and then we have y2 x2, and it will be y2 over x2, which is equal to k2, and we find that k2 is equal to k1. And then we have y3 over and x3. Then y3 over x3 is equal to k3, which is also equal to k1. As you can see, these are constants. Then you can say here y is directly proportional to x. Okay, these are the kind of results that you're looking for. Now let's come here. You have, let's say now we have results. Now with the results, let's say we have y, x, and then yx. So here we have y1, x1, y2, x2. We have y3, x3. So this is y1, x1, it is equal to k1, and then we have y2 x2, it is equal to k2, but this k2, we find that it is equal to k1, and then we have y3 x3, it is equal to k3. Again, this k3 is equal to k1. Now, when your data is like this, you will then say, oh, the product of the two values are the same. Does not matter what point you're looking at. Then it means y is indirectly proportional to x. These guys you are going to see when you do your experiments, or sometimes even in your exam, they will be giving you experiments. And this is how you are going to say, okay, the information, um, one value is directly proportional to the other or is inversely proportional to the other. Okay, so how do you see that? When you look at the formulas, if you see it like this, y is indirectly proportional to x. If it's like this, y is directly proportional to x. Right? If you don't have a formula, you can see it with the graph. If you have a straight line graph, it means y is directly proportional to x. If you have a hyperbolic graph, sorry, if you have a hyperbolic graph, it means y is inversely proportional to x. If they don't give you graphs, they give you results like this, and you find that the ratio of the two values is constant. All right, for different points, and it is the same value. You will then say this is direct proportionality. And if the product of the points are the same throughout, you will say this is indirect proportionality. Okay, so this is what you will be expecting. And this, please, you have to use it from grade 10 until grade 12. And in fact, for the rest of your life, as long as you are in this field of science. Okay. All right, guys. So, with that being said, our ends here and bye bye.